Let the outrage begin as Brock Lesnar takes out Oba Femi at Clash in Italy, albeit with 7 F5s. We'll talk about that, which, again, not a fan of that. But Brock Lesnar is victorious. The crowd seemed to be enjoying it. A lot of people on the line or not. What's the real audience? Well, you decide. I think the paying customer, the one that's actually there and in person making noise, should supersede those that are at home and sitting on their toilets tweeting. But it is interesting that those who somehow believe this is going to destroy Oba Femi's career and that his win at WrestleMania meant nothing really have no fundamental understanding of professional wrestling. Wins and losses do matter, but this is pro wrestling. If you believe that somebody can be destroyed by a single win or loss, you don't know pro wrestling. You don't understand storytelling. And I don't mean to be so blunt, but I guess I'm not sorry. That's not to say that consistent bad booking can't hurt someone, or that a decision that is pivotal in that person's career, if that person wins or loses a match, can put them on a trajectory downhill. Of course it can. Butterfly effect. But if you really believe that this loss to Brock Lesnar, I mean, he didn't lose to the Brooklyn Brawler. He lost to one of the most superior athletes of our generation. And by the way, it took 7 F5s. If you believe that this derailed Oba Femi's career, what was the WrestleMania win for? You don't know pro wrestling. Now, their match I didn't think was stellar. It was very much what I was hoping it wasn't going to be, which is focused on power moves and kickouts of finishers. But Brock Lesnar winning was the right call. Why? Well, number one, I don't want, just personally, not that my personal feelings matter as much, but Brock Lesnar to come back and just do jobs for everybody is not how I would use Brock Lesnar, because you got to give him a win here and there to remind people who he is, what he's capable of. You can't have him come in and just do jobs all the time. And Brock has done a lot of those as of late in his career. And when you enter a certain part of your career in the later stages, you do give back, and that's part of it. But you can't have just this crazy losing streak. So Brock Lesnar gets a victory here. And why? Well, he's not done. And if you think Oba Femi's done, watch Raw. He is going to raise hell. They are going to bounce back Oba Femi quickly. And I have to say to those that are concerned, here is my question to you. When is the last time Oba Femi was challenged like that? When was Oba Femi, if ever, challenged that way? Facing adversity is something that Oba Femi has not done yet. Overcoming an obstacle, overcoming a dominating performance. He has not faced that. His character specifically has not faced that yet. That's how you add layers to someone. If you can't win in a loss, if you believe that your character can't progress in a loss, then you're doomed. Or if you're a fan that believes that you can't win in an actual loss, you don't know pro wrestling. I'll continue to say that. Again, that doesn't mean consistent bad booking or some insanely stupid decision can't derail somebody and put them on a weird path, of course. But again, Oba Femi is going to be just fine. I hate to break it to you, those of you that want doom and gloom and believe that Oba Femi's win at WrestleMania also means nothing, I would still say this. Brock Lesnar's loss and Oba Femi's win at WrestleMania still carries the same weight. Number one, it was never official Brock Lesnar retired. Never. It was implied, kind of teased, but never officially stated by WWE, by Brock Lesnar, or by Paul Heyman. It was all just insinuated. It was symbolic. It was never official. I didn't buy it. Never did. Many people also didn't. The WWE didn't even really go all in on his retirement. They gave you a couple tribute videos of like the highlights of his career. They gave you a taste, but they didn't give you the full statement. They didn't make it very clear, which should have told you something. So the fact that I was supposed to believe the fans bought into the fact that he retired Brock Lesnar is just not true. And you shouldn't have fallen for that, because there were warning signs. Secondly, he beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Last I checked, that's a bigger platform, slightly, than Clash in Italy. Slightly, right? Millions more eyeballs on the product. Much bigger stage. The biggest stage that WWE has to offer. And Oba Femi did it in front of millions of people in a dominating fashion against the world's most dominant athlete of this generation. Combat athlete, I should say. So yeah, I would still say that win supersedes what Brock did. You need to give Brock a bit of a bounce back. Why? Because he's going to continue to give back by losing to his next opponent, which we all believe will be Gunther. I don't know how people are coming up with, where'd you get Gunther? Why would you say... Name another person that you would want on the roster to face Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam in Minneapolis to end his career, which, oh, by the way, Gunther has a habit of and is making a career of beating legends in their retirement matches. So, yeah, Gunther kind of fits the bill. They've also never done it. They've also teased it 2 years ago and never delivered. You can't tell me that is not the perfect opponent for Brock. So yeah, there's a little evidence there. I don't need Oba Femi Brock Lesnar Part 3. I know a rubber match makes sense. And sure, if Gunther has a more important path to take, which I don't know how you could have anything more important than retiring Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam under your belt. I would argue that's a bigger achievement, maybe even than winning a championship at SummerSlam. There's an argument for that at least. So this to me was the right call. You want to have Brock look strong, stronger, that he still got it. You want him to look dominant heading into his final match, presumably, at SummerSlam against Gunther, and have him lose to Gunther and make the most of that win. This is just basic booking, folks. Brock Lesnar is a once-in-a-generation talent. I don't give a shit what you think about his out-of-ring antics, Janelle Grant, all the accusations. There's nothing criminal going on here. There has been no criminal suit against Brock. That's not even anything I think we should all be concerned with. And all of a sudden, if someone has some kind of moral epiphany against Brock Lesnar, why don't you take a look at pretty much any NFL player, especially star players that have had issues that are caught on camera, beating people, beating their wives, girlfriends, dragging them through the hallways, DUIs. Suddenly we have no issue with them, and screw it. We just want them to, whatever. Let the NFL find them and then bring them back in a few weeks so they can come off my bench in my fantasy team and give me 20 points. I don't give a shit. You know that I'm right. People don't care as long as the stars perform. So I don't want to hear that you suddenly have found Jesus when it comes to Brock Lesnar's moral decisions, which may or may not be true. Take that standard and apply it to any other sport and any other professional athlete that has had issues. People don't give a shit as long as it serves them and their fantasy team, or if they're going to see them live, they've bought a ticket, or their team wins because that person came back. It's just kind of funny to me that suddenly Brock Lesnar's the guy. Like, oh, we don't need him back. Yet listen to the reaction. He got one of the biggest pops of the night. So I'm not here to defend it. If Brock Lesnar was actually involved in the Janelle Grant and what she said is true, which we don't know for sure, then yeah, I mean, that bad decision, bad on Brock, bad call. I don't support that. Of course not. You morons who think I do. My point is that Brock Lesnar should not be the exception to the rule of how we judge stars in sports and their decisions off the field. But when it comes to Brock, well, bullshit. You know when he comes back, you're watching. Same with Vince McMahon. Those of you that completely vilify Vince McMahon, that he's Satan himself, and he's made some bad choices. We all have. Is there anybody listening in the sound of my voice that has not made a bad choice? Now, to the severity of some of these choices, no. Most of us haven't done some of the things that we've heard Vince be accused of and others. My point is none of us have our hands clean. Nobody. Would you like all of your dirty laundry aired? I'm sure people would think differently of you. I know people would think differently of me. We all do. My point is, when that person comes back on the field, comes back to television, kick and scream all you want on Twitter, you're watching. And you know what it does? It creates more people watching. Viewers breed viewers. I don't know how I got on that tangent. Let's get back to Clash in Italy. So this is a good win for Brock. It may be the final one of his career, by the way. They may, and I was thinking about this. Would they do a Oba Femi Brock Lesnar part 3? I mean, if it wasn't the end of Brock's career, you would think that this is destined for a third match. And looking at the actual, looking at the schedule here, there are some places that this could happen. There's June 27th at Night of Champions in Riyadh. You know, Riyadh has an endless amount of money that they would pay, and Brock is trying to, I'm sure, gather as much of that money and bank it away as he can, and good for him. There's also July 18th Saturday Night Main Event, and you would say, well, you would never have it there. It's a Saturday Night Main Event. Well, I would agree with you normally, except look at the location. It's Madison Square Garden. That's as big of a Saturday Night Main Event as you're ever going to get. So I could see a scenario in which there is a third match. There's a rubber match between June 27th and July 18th with Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi. And then you get to August 1st and 2nd at SummerSlam in Minneapolis, and Brock Lesnar says goodbye. So that could have been Brock Lesnar's final win. There's a trivia question for you. Who did Brock Lesnar beat in his final televised victory? Now you know. So, those of you that are freaking out on X, take a breath. Take it easy. Understand that this is pro wrestling. Understand what makes up pro wrestling. You need to kind of look down the line at why would they do this? What are they setting up? And just take peace in knowing Oba Femi is going to be just fine. All right. But the match, okay, quickly on the match with Oba, and I promise we'll talk about other stuff other than this, but this had to me lead the show. The match I thought was fine. Again, looking at the analysis here, and I'll look at and give credit to Pro Wrestling Net. They take the notes, so I don't have to, and I give them free promotion. I think that's a fair trade-off because they do a good job. All right. The match, what was it, third, fourth? Oh, look at this. Was it on? Third. It was third. The one thing Brock Lesnar said, by the way, he said, 1 + 1, you're done, bitch. That wasn't exactly a Suplex City line. I don't know what the hell he was talking about. What is 1 + 1? Was there a punchline there? Was he too out of breath to deliver it? Did he forget what he was saying? Did he know what he was saying? He kept saying 1 + 1, you're done, bitch. What? It didn't even flow well. It was weird. All right, but this match only went 6 minutes and 25 seconds, sadly. I was hoping for at least 4 minutes more, and we didn't get it. We got exactly the match that, again, for some reason they feel they can only deliver. But 7 F5s. Oba Femi continues to no-sell them. Gets up after 3. Brock delivers a 4th. Kick out of the 4th. A 5th one through the announce table. Another one. And then the 7th one. And 1, 2, 3. Good night, the lights. Brock Lesnar wins. And the analysis, if you want somebody's other than mine, says from Pro Wrestling Net, another hot match. There will be a lot of debate over that outcome. I said going in, I didn't think Oba should lose clean, but I'm actually okay with it after watching the match play out. I didn't expect a Goldberg-like winning streak. The debate will ultimately be decided by whether Oba stays hot or cools off following the finish. Oba strikes me as being way too over to have one loss to Lesnar derail him. Yes. And if somebody is derailed by a loss to Brock Lesnar, You didn't deserve to be hot in the first place. Your support was a mirage. It wasn't real. If that actually happens to Oba and the fans just stop chanting his name, then the fans never really supported him to begin with. There's no other way to say it. But again, if you're going to lose, what better person to lose to than Brock Lesnar? I don't appreciate the constant kickouts of F5s and finishers in general. I was trying to keep count of just overall for the event, how many finishers were kicked out of. I lost track at like 13. It was absurd. I know that's the world we live in, but I don't know how much further they can push this before we don't even have finishers anymore. We just have like random endings to matches. It takes the believability out of everything. As you know how I feel about this. I'm not a fan. And with Brock Lesnar, I get it. I get it with Oba Femi. He's a beast of a different kind. They're trying to get him over. But what should have happened, in my mind, if this is how you wanted to get him over, was by having him kick out of finishers from Brock Lesnar. In a normal world, that would have meant it took 3 to put him down. Back in the day, and I don't mean that long ago, 10, 15 years ago, finishers actually meant something. They used to mean, even prior to that in the late 90s, finishers actually meant you never kicked out. Ever. Finishers were almost never kicked out of. Think about this. WrestleMania 14, Stone Cold Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels never hit the super kick on Steve Austin that night. Didn't even get his finish in. Stone Cold hit Shawn Michaels with one stunner that ended the match. One. And it ended the match. Now, I know we went on to Rock and Austin. They delivered multiple finishes to each other. Kane and Undertaker at WrestleMania 14. It took 3 tombstones to beat Kane. That was a big deal. No one kicked out of the tombstone at all, ever. You just knew it was over. My point being, finishers used to have weight and meaning, and they have just been shredded into nothing today. Nothing. But moving on. Let's move on to a different match. I promised we would, and we'll do it here after, 17, 18 minutes here into the show. All right. Cody Rhodes and Gunther for the WWE Championship opened the show. Now, since it opened the show, you knew that there was almost no chance of the title changing hands, just based on placement in the show. And the match, I thought, was really good. Did it blow me away? No. Was it cut a little short to me? Yes. It was 11 and a half minutes long. Cody Rhodes wins. Now, the way he won, of course, was after multiple crossroads, because of course. And the final crossroads, he kind of spun Gunther a little, over-rotated, so Gunther's foot was underneath, not on top, but underneath the rope. And it was made clear that the referee should not have even started the count if the opponent's leg is underneath the rope. And the ref counted 3 anyway. So this enraged Gunther. The announcers pointed it out. Even though the 3 went down, it's not a 3 count that's valid. And we kind of figured this. If you've been watching Gunther and the way that they're probably setting him up for Brock, you want him to, even in the loss, look strong. Something happens here, maybe a little heelish something, and that is what you could argue. There's a small grain of heel here in the Cody finish where he kind of got lucky, and he took the belt and took the victory and walked away. He wasn't arguing and saying, yeah, he's right. We'll see what the follow-up is. But Gunther has a case. And he was beaten, but he wasn't. So that's Gunther's out. They knew they had to make him whole on the back end, and I think they will and have started that already. But the match was good. These two worked well together. I didn't have an issue with this. Some fans did boo as Cody celebrated, by the way. There is I think, a waning of support for Cody. He's not nearly as hot as he was. There, I think, there is a movement happening here for Cody to turn heel. I think it'll happen, dare I say, I think by year end is a little much, but is it? But if you're going to do a turn, maybe WrestleMania 43 is the time to do it. A Cody turn is a big thing to do, and you would likely want to do it at a big stage. And we have, I think, had enough of the Cody babyface character. I mean, even if you're a supporter of Cody, you have to be getting a little bored of this. There's nothing new or exciting ever with Cody Rhodes. Nothing. He's kind of the same dude all the time, but he retains. All right, let's go to the next match. Jade Cargill, Rhea Ripley for the Women's Championship. This match went 17 minutes. This was good. I will say, first of all, before we get to the B-Fab thing and the miss thing. Okay. Let me just talk about the finish as far as Ripley winning. There have been reports coming out that Rhea Ripley passed out backstage and she had a panic attack and collapsed to the floor and all the rest. Been reports coming out about that. I don't know how true that is, but for the sake of argument, let's say it's true because it sounds like it could be true and probably is true. It just sounds like it is. She's had a lot of issues. She hasn't been forthright, and she doesn't have to be, but she hasn't told us her specific problems other than just, quote, mental health, the buzzwords of the last 5 years, right? We can infer some things that are probably going on with her, and we'd probably be right about just, anxiety, depression, or body image issues, right? All the things, by the way, that we all go through as human beings is just part of the human experience, but today the medical industry likes to medicalize every unpleasant human emotion into some kind of illness that they'll give you a pill for. So that's another topic for maybe my other show that I haven't updated in a while called The War on Truth, if you want to check that out. Again, I haven't updated in a few months, but just because of time. However, let's put that aside. Again, I'd love to dive in, but I won't. With Rhea, there have been and has been some clear physical changes in her. And I've talked about this before, but if this is true, WWE needs to get her some help. Take the belt off her and get her some help. That's what they need to do. You may say, well, what? They don't want to take the belt off her and make her more upset. No, that'll actually put more pressure on her by keeping her champion, having her out on the road, having her perform in front of fans, the stress of being champion, all the rest. If that's true, strip her of the belt, give it to Jade. She can handle it. She's shown she can, and she's improved a lot. And get her some help. Put her in, I don't know. I don't think she's on any kind of narcotic or any kind of, doesn't seemingly have any drug or alcohol problems. I could be wrong, but get her whatever help she needs and have her come back. Because if that's true, she needs to go. She needs to be in a place that can actually help her. Now she may say, well, here's where here's my therapy. Wrestling's my therapy. Well, clearly it's not, because we're watching you deteriorate in front of our eyes. Like, you're withering away. And people are, I've heard people say in X, well, anxiety causes weight loss, or back pain or injuries cause weight loss. No, you know what causes weight loss? And I'm saying this with 100% accuracy, and same with weight gain, calorie intake. That's it. So she's clearly eating less than she was, a lot less. Charlotte, to some degree, too, is a bit concerning. And he's like, well, what are you not analyzing the women's bodies? Yeah, actually, I am. Because when I see things change drastically to a concerning level, first of all, I mean, I have the right they're public figures. So, I'm going to just because I want to, and they're public, and it's something that I certainly have the right to do also. But I'm expressing genuine concern for Ripley because her drastic weight loss is telling me clearly she is eating a lot less. Her muscle mass has dropped significantly, not her body fat. She never really had any of that. It's her muscle mass. And I think it's also doing her in-ring work no favors. And not that she's bad, but clearly her strength has, I think, been has regressed a little bit. She's still able to put on a good match, but it's not as I don't think it really is as fun as it would have been if she was still kind of jacked up and muscle bound. Because to me, not only has she lost her strength, because physics, more muscle mass equals more strength, but just because from a physical standpoint, she does not look as intimidating as she would have against Jade had she not had that drop in weight over the last 6 to 12 months. Bottom line is, okay, Rhea retains after hitting the Riptide, and she's champion still. So I just hope that if it's true, they get her help. I mean, that's really it. But let's talk about B-Fab here. Okay, so let's set up the situation. We had Jade go up top. Ripley cut her off. Ripley then hit a side suplex from the top rope and covered Jade for the near fall. And B-Fab and Michin come to the ring. They distract Ripley, who turned into a pump kick, and Jade jaded and then hit Riptide by rolling through Jade's legs and double stomping her. Ripley covered Jade, and the idea was that B-Fab would put Jade's foot over the bottom rope, but she flubbed it, and the referee had to stop his count before the foot was on the rope. Ripley went to the floor and pointed at her head, and then Charlotte Flair jumped off the barricade and hit B-Fab and Michin with a crossbody block, and then Flair ran B-Fab into the ring post, and of course we get the finish there with Jade and Ripley. That was a nice finish, by the way. They were very smooth with their transitions from Jaded to the Riptide. It was nice, smooth transitions. You didn't know how it was going to end, and I commend both women for that. But yeah. B-Fab, the analysis, according to Pro Wrestling Net, says, I'm sure nobody feels worse than B-Fab, but that spot put a black mark on an otherwise very good match. The fact that the opening match ended with the referee missing Gunther's foot being under the rope and then hitting the ropes made this even more awkward, but Ripley and Jade came through with a hot match, and Charlotte's involvement gave Jade an out for losing, and Flair could also say that she's the only reason that Ripley is still the champion when the time comes for their next match. This is a good sign if you want Charlotte out of the tag team division. I'm ready for it. I think you've been ready for it as well. It's time to put her back into the spotlight. We've had a nice long run with her and Alexa as tag team champions. It's been fun. Bring her back. I don't know how the fans are going to react to her. Is it going to be a Pavlovian response from the fans to Charlotte when they realize what's back in front of them, that she's chasing the women's championship again? I don't know. Maybe all of this goodwill she's created with the fans and with Alexa Bliss will overshadow and eat away at that negative response that fans just constantly give Charlotte. It's going to be an interesting kind of decision that the fans have to make, consciously or not. And it sets up a possibility, like Pro Wrestling Net said. Could it go to Charlotte and Rhea? Or could it go to Charlotte and Jade? Perhaps we get a three-way. Maybe at the next show in Riyadh. A Night of Champions. Or at SummerSlam. But I think that triple threat is coming. Charlotte, Jade, Rhea. Okay. Then we get the Oba Femi Brock Lesnar match, which we already went over. And then in the fourth match, Becky Lynch, Ruca for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Guess who was the referee? Give you one guess. Yeah, Jessica Carr. And she was almost taunting Becky Lynch during the match whenever she was in a submission hold. And you could tell there's the real tension there. And it's been building for months and months and months. So the match was good, really good. I enjoyed this, and I was hoping for a really good match because of the flubs and slips and all the rest of it. that Sol Ruca has had over the last few weeks. This match delivered, and I was hoping it would. It did. Sol Ruca wins the women's championship. So she wins the Women's Intercontinental Championship. She is now champion, and I'm okay with that. Sol Ruca needed a night like this. This was about Sol Ruca. This was not really about Becky Lynch, although with Jessica Carr being the one to count her shoulders down to have her lose the belt, that does add fuel to the fire, and it could lead to a Becky Lynch and Jessica Carr match. Could be at SummerSlam, could be just on a Raw, could be at Saturday night's main event, really anywhere. But I think this is where Becky Lynch will focus her rage, is on Jessica Carr, as she has in the past, but this time it could explode. So the analysis, not according to me, but processing that, perhaps it's by design. But Ruca looks nervous before performing big spots. It was easy to see when she was going to attempt a big move because she'd take a deep breath before going for most of those moves. She's had the one botch when she hit the ropes, but she recovered nicely and the Soul Snatcher looked terrific. There was even more friction than usual between Lynch and Carr, and they still haven't pulled the trigger on the big angle that would presumably lead to a match. Yeah. There is that nervousness by Ruca. I think it's natural. I think it's organic. I don't think it's manufactured by her character. I think she genuinely does have nerves going on. She's clearly got adrenaline that is flowing through her, which has caused her to do crazy things and also slip and fall because your nervous system's overloaded. I get it. I will say this: as good as the Soul Snatcher finish is, and to be honest with you, the name of the finish, as I've said, is a little suggestive, but the finish looks good when it's performed well and it's executed well. But there's very little room for error with that finish. As we've seen, even Becky Lynch can't save it sometimes. It is a finish that looks very pretty and is a really good finish, but it also looks really bad when it's not. It's not easy to recover from when you do it poorly or your opponent takes it poorly. So, just a word of caution, because I'm sure she's listening, and I say that, of course, jokingly, but who knows. Great finish, but you may want to add a second signature move to your repertoire because, of course, as she ages, physics will take over. Science wins. Science will win, and what I mean by that is it's going to put more wear and tear on your body than necessary when you can have a finish that isn't so rough on yourself. And also, it's more risk than needed. Not necessarily for your opponent, which is essentially just it ends like an RKO, but if it's done in a way that you slip and you don't turn the right way, you don't land right, you can land on your neck. Not a good risk factor for a finish. I know at any point something weird could happen, and usually it's just the common moves that create injuries, and that's true. But boy, this one, as great as it looks, I see it every time and I'm like, it's pretty, but god damn is it risky. All right, moving on. So Roman Reigns, Jacob Fatu. I haven't even touched on this yet. So the match, what was the timestamp on that? I did not write that down. Well, yeah, wow. 27 minutes. 27 minutes with Roman Reigns retaining. Let me get to, before I talk about my opinion on this, the analysis from Pro Wrestling Net, because I think it's worth responding to. They said the main event was plotting at times during the first half, but it picked up during the second. It was fine, but they never sold me on the threat of Fatu winning. I could have done without Cole saying that Fatu was neutered and domesticated, but we'll see where Fatu's storyline of having to serve Roman Reigns goes next. And the finish, the final kind of wrap-up thoughts by Pro Wrestling Net says that overall the show looked great on paper and it was strong in execution. They got the weakest finish out of the way in the opener and surprised me with the clean finish in the Lesnar Oba Femi match. And okay, more stuff that they're doing. Okay, so Fatu winning never really entered my mind as a real threat, but I did say it was possible because they were the main event. They seemingly have a lot of stock invested in Fatu, and they may want to shock the world. Well, they didn't. I think the right call was made. The fans were behind Roman. The match was slow to begin, but when the match is slow to begin, you know they have a lot of time, which tells you you've got a good 20 minutes at least. It's a clear sign. And the men beat the hell out of each other as expected, and I agree that it was slow to begin, but it did pick up. The spears through the barricade and through the table. WWE put on their X account when Roman speared Jacob through the barricade. Something about, what did we just see? Or, oh my God, like, we've seen that spot, that very safe spot, dozens of times over the last few months. Like, what do you mean? Like, I just saw it. I'm like, it's just a spot. Like, that doesn't surprise us anymore. But Roman did a great job. And to Solo Sikoa, we'll get to him. To Jacob Fatu's credit, I think he did a good job as well. And he lost clean, which means he now needs to serve Roman Reigns. We'll see how that plays out. I actually don't need any more Fatu Solo kind of anybody that's a Samoan, as I've said. I don't need any Samoan battling any other Samoan ever again, unless The Rock's going to come back and finally face Roman Reigns in a match that we have yet to see. But this match was really good. No concerns about the second half of the match. I concur with Pro Wrestling Net. And at the end, though, Solo, Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Tala Tonga were in the front row. And that was interesting, kind of staring at the matchup. That does tell you they've got plans. My God, are we really going back here? Are we going to see Roman and the Usos versus Solo and the MFTs? Is that really where we're fucking going? And then Jacob is just kind of thrown in there. You see the special referee. You see the enforcer. You see the lapdog. I don't care that Cole said that Jacob's been neutered and domesticated. First of all, I don't give a shit. I mean, you know how I feel about Jacob Fatu. I'm sure. Great. Yeah. Whatever. It does kind of cool off Fatu in a way that you don't want fans to perceive him, because he's been this Samoan werewolf. He's been this uncontrollable, wild animal. And now he's been kind of tamed into this little bitch. That's the message. That's the vibe. I get the complaint by Pro Wrestling Net, but I just don't care. I just don't care. But my larger point to this, whole issue with the Samoans and their constant feuding and turning, and I love you, you don't love me, let's turn on each other, or there's no other combination we need to see. I can't stress that enough. Yet we continue to see signs that we could get this again. God, please, just in the words of Michael Scott, no. God, no. That famous clip when Toby returns as the head of HR. That's me in my brain right now to seeing any combination of anyone facing anyone in that family. So, what did you guys think? What did you think of Clash in Italy? And yes, the crowd was hot. The crowd was hot. Give them credit. As expected, even as advertised, they were really hot. Even singing Brock Lesnar's song. I don't know where you guys come up with the energy. I wouldn't even want to be, in a crowd like that for a wrestling event. There's no come down moments. Everything's just peaking all the time and then sustaining the peak of like How do you even have that much energy? Is everyone hammered? Is everyone just constantly drinking their faces off? I don't understand it. It's some kind of incantation that you guys have put on one another or on yourselves to come to a wrestling event and perform at that high of level for as long as you do. Now, I understand your soccer games, or as you guys call it, football games. You're the same way. The stadiums are shaking. You're just constantly involved in every move. Maybe you just aren't human beings. I mean, I don't know. You're either not human or you have some magical formula that is unbeknownst to the general public. I don't know. I could not go to an event and give that much energy to a show. I have a very limited supply of energy that's in my body. And I'm very selective as to where and how I give that energy. So kudos to all of you in Italy, though. Good God, I don't know how you do it. I don't. But all right, so much more to come as we roll to the next PLE, which, again, for those of you who need a reminder, and I do too, the next PLE is June 27th. Night of Champions in beloved Riyadh. After that, it's July 18th as Saturday night's main event and then SummerSlam. So, 2 events between now and SummerSlam. June 27th, July 18th. Both present places where things could happen, and I think they will. We saw no returns. No CM Punk, no Drew McIntyre, no Enzo Amore. No returning tag teams. And I didn't need it. I mean, I'm not disappointed at all. But I think those that maybe were looking for a return and didn't get it, maybe a little disappointed. But again, I don't think the show needed it. I was happy coming away from the show. I think it did deliver in a way that wrestling shows should deliver. If you want the 2026 version of just what wrestling is, you got wrestling. And you got to see stars. I mean, you got to see Roman Reigns. You got to see Brock Lesnar. For those interested, I mean, Oba Femi is one of the biggest up-and-coming stars they've got. Cody Rhodes is one of the faces of their company. So, good night overall. I thought it was a B minus. In terms of show quality. That's my overall grade. So I'll stop there, but I'll be back maybe tomorrow. I might record a video tonight. I'm going to see how I feel after posting this show. But if not, I'm going to give you guys another video. Those on Patreon, check it out. Patreon.com/WWE podcast if you want to join ad-free, or you want videos that I do a few times a week now at least. That'll be put up there. Or you can just give us a 5-star rating anywhere podcasts are available. Thank you, everybody, and I will talk to you very soon. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to Patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.